lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy. This time I'm reviewing Twenties Girl by Sophie Kinsella. I actually listened to the audiobook for this, which is narrated by Rosalind Landor, and this is a contemporary British chick lit novel, and it tells the story of Lara Lington, who starts getting haunted by the ghost of her dead great aunt, who wants her to find this missing necklace. And throughout the story, we start finding out more about the great aunt and her life in the 20s. And Lara starts having to adopt 20s because of the influence of her aunt, is starting to adopt 20s things like 20s slang in their outfits, which is really fun. Ta-da! Here's the back of this book, because I thought the cover was really cool that it was both women. Also used library copy, in case you can't tell. So Lara Lington's life at the beginning of this book is kind of a mess. She is just starting a new business with her best friend as a headhunter for these corporations. So she goes and finds executives for these jobs and tries to lure them away from other companies. So it takes a lot of networking skills. She has never done this before. So she's trusting her friend to teach her, except her friend has gone on vacation and has decided to just not come back for several weeks. And so Lara and their assistant Kate are trying to keep the business running together, and neither one of them completely knows what they're doing. So the business end is a complete mess. She also invested a lot of her savings in this business, so she really needs it to not fall apart because she's going to lose all her money. She also has a lot of family problems with her parents, and especially with her uncle, who is this well-known millionaire in their community. He has invented... he started this new coffee shop called Linton's Coffee. It's gone on really big. Well, it's been 20 years, so not just, but has grown this brand. And so anybody who hears her name immediately is like, oh, are you related to the Linton's Coffee? And depending on her mood, she might say no. But also dealing with living in the shadows, and her father and his brother aren't very close, so the family thing is really tense. And then she's also got her ex-boyfriend who left her, I think 6 weeks ago or something. They had been living together. She thought it was really serious, and then he just calls it off with no warning, and she doesn't understand why. He didn't give her any reasons, and so she's grieving the loss of this relationship, but also trying to understand why it fell apart. And so her life's kind of a mess. And so we meet her. She's getting ready to go to her great aunt's funeral. Her great aunt died at 105, which is really old, but she had a stroke in the 80s and wasn't really with it anymore. So the family didn't visit her a lot, and they weren't particularly close to begin with anyway. So Laura's only met her great aunt a couple of times when she was really, really young. So they go to this funeral, and the priest and the pastor is asking them, tell me things about her past. And they're like, I don't know. She was wearing a shawl. Maybe she liked knitting. They know nothing about her. And so this is, making out to be the worst funeral ever. Not because anybody's sad she's gone, but because they're like, oh, I didn't know her at all. It's just the family there, and they feel it because of obligation. So it's at the funeral where Lara starts hearing this voice screaming in her ear that she wants her necklace, and Laura's trying to act sane and she's not hearing voices, which makes a really hilarious scene as she tries to stop the funeral without sounding completely crazy, but there's really no way to do this without sounding crazy. So it looks like she's having a nervous breakdown, and so Lara leaves, and her Aunt Sadie's ghost continues to follow her. Throughout the book, the two of them are working to find this missing necklace, this dragonfly necklace, which meant a lot to Sadie. It's gone missing. The last picture of their great aunt is at her 105th birthday, and she's wearing the necklace, but sometime in the last few months it's gone missing, and so they're Sadie and Lara are trying to work together to find it. And this just brings up all kinds of things about Sadie's past, and we also get to explore 1920s culture. Sadie was a party girl. She wants to go dancing. She misses that. She wants to go on dates, and so she's roping Lara into all of this by screaming very incessantly in her ear and physically standing in front of her. There are tons of really awkward moments in this where Sadie is just completely crossing the line. It's just because nobody else can see you doesn't mean it's okay to do that to Lara. I was cringing ending. Parts of those got way too awkward, and it took a while for me to really warm up to Sadie, because she is a character. She's got her own memories and her own personality, but like to warm up to her properly took a good chunk of this book. I did really love all the 20s allusions, getting to see the outfits. Sadie's correcting her, takes her to a vintage shop, shows her like some actual stuff from the 20s. She also has the ability to like change clothes, so she's constantly putting on these outfits that are like reminiscent of the 20s, which was fun. I love the fashion. She's also obsessed with jazz music and like that whole era of dancing. They start explaining the Charleston, and Laura has to learn how to do that to appease Sadie, so like that's really funny. There's also a whole plot line where Laura is trying to date this guy Ed because Sadie likes him, but like Ed has no idea that Sadie's even involved in the picture. He thinks he's just dating Laura, and it's really funny. And creating like this weird triangle where like the guy doesn't know it's a triangle. So that was funny. I kind of enjoyed this book. It did take a while to like warm up to Sadie, so like the first part of the book I didn't really like as much. Almost like put it down a few times. Luckily I was listening to the audiobook, so it made it easier to kind of plow through that hump. So in the end I ended up giving it 4 stars, averaging out the like not so great beginning with the like awesome ending. So if you like contemporary chick lit, if you love British romances, if you love quirky funny stories, if you love the 1920s, this could be a really awesome book. It might not be for everyone. There's definitely like the narrator was definitely screeching at some points in this audiobook though, which was not great. On the whole, 4 stars. Might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I did mostly enjoy 20s Girl by Sophie Kinsella. Let me know in the comments below if you have read this one. I've definitely read better books by Sophie Kinsella. I read My Not So Perfect Life recently. That was way better than this one. There is like a tendency in these chick lit books to have like very cringeworthy moments in them, and some of them are just really hard to ignore and like not feel secondhand embarrassment for, and this is definitely one of those books that had a ton of that. So if you can get over that, it's awesome. But I could see it not being for everyone. So yeah, there's my review for 20s Girl by Sophie Kinsella. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this one. Do you have any other favorite chick lit novels? Any other Sophie Kinsella or Madeline Wickham books that I should be reading? Put those down in the description below. So peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.